Me personally, I think all in all, Black Lagoon is my favorite anime I've ever watched, and all the arcs are hits, classics. However, I've chosen one of my favorite arcs in the show to go over in specific. First, I feel like a little background to the show is necessary though. The show follows a group of mercenaries who mostly smuggle shit to get their bread. In the anime, the mercenary group consists of 4 main niggas: Rock, the businessman and the accountant and also the main character of the show; Revy, a homicidal sociopath who operates as the muscle of the group; Benny, the computer guy; and Dutch, the leader and negotiator who used to be in the armed forces. Their business is located in some shithole where lowlifes operate all types of illegal businesses because 12 doesn't give a fuck and can be bought. They're also in cahoots with the Russian mob and the Chinese triad because who doesn't have an operation in that city at this point? Anyways, this is about all you need to know. The first episode of the arc starts with the main niggas dropping off the blicks to some randos who we never see again, who hand them a fetus to traffic for the cartel. Revy puts him in some room and the boy disrespects her, and she ups the pole on him and starts threatening to tear him apart like a chimp on Adderall. After that, Rock has to pick up the babysitting duties, and at first the boy disrespects him too, but he comes to realize Rock doesn't put niggas on shirts for a hobby like Revy does, and they start to talk. The boy starts talking heavy about his father sending them boys to come and rescue him, and tells Rock he came from South American nobility, but Rock thinks he's capping. He then disrespects the boy's bloodline by calling them the bummiest of the nobility, but the boy says they still get good amounts of money anyway, so it's like whatever. He reveals that the cartel is moving like the US military and attempting to pillage the boy's family land for natural resources, and they harassed him after the boy's father wasn't going for it. After hearing about that, Rock questions the motive of the cartel for, trafficking the fetus, but Revy doesn't even give a fuck about human trafficking as long as she gets the green for it. Dutch has questions about the cartel he needs answered after that, and he asks the Fuhrer of the Russian mafia to look into the cartel for him. He also asks about the likelihood of them getting blitzed by the troops of the nobility, but Rock tells him they can only afford to have one indentured servant on the payroll. The indentured servant pulls up to the shithole where the main niggas operate their business from and starts asking where she can find the South American cartel members. All of the locals tell her the only place where she'll find information like that is some bar where all the scums of the earth hang out, but she's not sweating it at all. The indentured servant pulls up on the bartender and starts asking him questions like she's the feds or something. The bartender continuously treats her like a second-class citizen for not wanting to indulge in the brown stuff. On the way to the bar, the boy starts hyping up the indentured servant and tells the main niggas that she's stronger than she appears to be. One of the Russian mob niggas reports back to the Fuhrer with the information that he found on the indentured servant, and they look at her eyes in the photograph they found and realize that she's really about that action from the photograph alone. Eventually, the cartel niggas find her and run down on her in the bar because she was asking too many questions, and the episode ends with her putting one of them on life support. The second episode picks up a little bit before the end of the first one, with the boy reminiscing on a more peaceful time in his life before he wakes up and sees that he's in hell. He makes an apt observation that it's a shithole, and Rock agrees that this area is no place to raise a family. The boy is still writing the indentured servant's tip and saying that she's coming to save him, and they eventually make their way to the bar. We find ourselves at the end of the last episode where she puts one of the cartel niggas in her blunt. After that, they go weapons free and start turning the bar into Iwo Jima. The indentured servant starts smoking op packs left and right, and the bartender is hurt about the damages being done to his bar. But it's like, my nigga, what do you expect at this point? You keep creating a safe space for all the scums of the earth to hang out. Shit's gonna pop off. The main niggas realize they entered at an inopportune time and attempt to evacuate the premises, but the bartender sees Revy and gets upset, thinking she's responsible for the jihad taking place in the bar. Despite her habit for causing conflict everywhere she goes, she gets upset at the assumption and gives away their position by yelling, and the cartel asks about the boy they were supposed to traffic only to see him inside the bar. The indentured servant sees the boy and stops depopulating the area, and the boy asks her to vacate the premises with him. However, Revy fucks the game up by taking him as a hostage in a standoff that ends in her damn near getting put in a coma. The main niggas start to get out of there, and the cartel niggas start lore dumping about how the indentured servant is some super soldier with 400 bands on her head. After that, she drops a bunch of heavy artillery and leaves the block looking like it got hit by Hurricane Katrina. She decides that the cartel no longer holds any worth to her and starts to get on the main nigga's ass to try to retrieve the boy. The indentured servant gets in a car chase with them and starts trying to run them off the road like it's burnout paradise. Meanwhile, we see the bar owner down bad because his business venture has been blown to smithereens yet again. The indentured servant stole a shit box to give them chase in, and the radiator stalls out on her, and the main niggas start having to drive through cuts to escape her wrath. Somehow the indentured servant got the whip on the roof and throws it into the path of the main nigga's car and gives them car troubles. The main niggas get their car to start again and start driving away, but the episode ends with the indentured servant hawking them down and clinging onto their car like the Terminator. The third and final episode of the arc picks up where the last one left off, with the indentured servant clinging onto the car. She starts sending shells at them through the roof of the car, so they crash the whip in order to get her the fuck off, but it doesn't work. Like, she tanks it, she's a problem. After she got put out of commission for the majority of the last episode, Revy wakes up and engages in jihad with the indentured servant for doing her bad, despite her damn near getting put on life support the last time. In the middle of their conflict, Revy has a flashback to the first pack she smoked and realizes the indentured servant was living like that too before she became a servant. The Fuhrer of the Russian mob pulls up with her death squad and tells them that they plan to do the cartel niggas cut anyways, and tells the indentured servant that they handled her light work so they may as well put the guns up. When the two refuse, she deads that shit anyways, so it doesn't even matter. The boy tells the indentured servant that they should go home and avoid further combat, and the Fuhrer of the Russian mob tells the boy about her past as a former international criminal Akatsuki ass nigga. The indentured servant tells the boy that she isn't capping. She thought the group she was in was making the world a better place, but it turns out they were being paid off by the cartel to protect their fields of that white stuff, and she thought that was as dead as riding a dick, so she chose a life of servitude instead. The boy and his indentured servant prepare to leave for their homeland, and it looks like it's going to be a happy ending, but Revy isn't going for that shit, and they get the okay to engage in hand-to-hand combat. They beat the brakes off of each other until they both end up needing a doctor. The Fuhrer of the Russian mob tells the boy that despite his prepubescence, he's a real nigga, and they flee the scene. This is honestly one of my favorite arcs of the series that I think is heat overall, and I rate it an up out of down. The moral of the story is, don't get involved in cartel business or else some super soldier ass indentured servant will hunt you down and attempt to put you on a shirt and fuck the whole block up in the process.